Hello, Marcus Lim here with Boldly Go, the new book by William Shatner with Joshua Brandon, Reflections on a Life of Awe and Wonder. Now, this is not exactly a memoir. Shatner has done other books that are more memoirs like this one up till now. Well, an autobiography, right? A couple years back. But this one is more a series of essays about what Shatner has learned on various topics. Given that he is over 90 years old, I think 91, right, this year. Yeah, so I guess you could say he's got enough years lived to have certain views on certain topics. Okay, so at the back here from Boldly Go, this is about, this paragraph is about his experience in space, which is one of the chapters in the book. Okay, so let me take off the jacket. Alright, so, and here's the book without the jacket. Okay, so let's have a look. Boldly Go. Alright, so this is a fairly new one. This thing came out around the end of last year, and I haven't really got to it until now. But better late than never. Okay, so introduction, you can see there's how many chapters? 9 chapters and an epilogue. Okay, and each of these chapters tackles a different topic. So belong together, listen to animals, piece of humanity, it's round, listen to the music, worst and the best, the spirit and everything, your place in the universe when I'm gone. Okay, yeah, so let's have a quick look at the intro, and I want to draw your attention to the thing when he talks about oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, he says here, we are often reminded to stop and smell the roses. I have to go further. Stop and smell everything. Smell the roses, smell the grass, smell the weeds. Right, so that's pretty much what the whole book, in a nutshell, is all about. His curiosity about so many things. Wait, Shannon wants me to smell the weeds? That's how I'm supposed to live? Well, I'm 91 years old. How old are you? Right, so as I said, he does have the years to back it up. And you can tell, right, he's gonna deliver this with his trademark wit and flair, right? Okay, so let's head on to chapter 1. So we belong together, and this is about connection and relationships to, friends, nature, family. He also accounts how he's always had this fear of loneliness as well. And one thing that quite struck me was page 14 here. He says, some of you reading this may wonder why I continue to refer to Elizabeth as my wife. When a cursory glance at Wikipedia will tell you that we are divorced. We are in fact divorced, but only on paper, right? So if you've ever wondered, right, is he really divorced? Well, he does answer that here. Okay. And then, yeah, so that's the first chapter. Let's get on with it to chapter 2, which is animals. We all know that Bill loves his dogs and his horses. So, yeah, this chapter is all about those two things: horses and dogs, right? Horse therapy. His association with those causes, right, for horses. And yes, you also get to know the names of your 2 dogs, young dogs, Espresso and Macchiato, right? Yeah, so this book is filled with cool tidbits like that. Alright, chapter 3, Pieces of Humanity. So he kind of likens this to how, we are all different, and how some people may be missing certain Lego pieces. And I think he does admit to himself like that he may perhaps be insensitive to people's feelings at certain times, and yeah, that, you know, like he did recount about how in the later years of Leonard Nimoy's life they weren't really getting along, okay, but here there's some sort of comfort to be had, because he says, more recently, Leonard's daughter Julie reached out to me and said he loved you, you know, he loved you. Yeah. So that's something I think that we got that we didn't get in previous recountings of this, right? So that's pretty cool to know. Okay. So yeah, let's see what's next. So we've got chapter 4 now. As we all know, Shatner went to space. Oldest person alive to do so, age 90, or is it 91? Yeah, so so this chapter is all about that experience, so it's probably a highlight, right? At least it was, so definitely a highlight for me, this chapter. And the thing is, it's interesting because whereas the other passengers, they were all like just trying to have fun and stuff. For Shatner, it was a different experience, right? He says here he saw a cold, dark, black emptiness. He saw death, right? So it was deep, enveloping, or encompassing. And so he saw death. In fact, he actually likens it like to a funeral here. He says, my trip to space was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it felt like a funeral. Okay? Yeah, so that was his reaction. And I think he physically wept right when he got back to Earth. And he was determined to do something about it. Right? Yeah, it was sort of an eye-opening experience for sure for him. So moving on to chapter 5, listen to the music. Right, about his musical journey. Now I think he admits to himself that he doesn't really have a singing voice. However, that hasn't stopped him, right, from producing several albums in his career. This, I guess, this one is a funny one where he recounts his first collaboration with Ben Folds, and how the way Ben Folds work is he would just noodle around on the piano. That wasn't how I was accustomed to working. Where for him as an actor, he definitely has it all planned out, right? So, sort of a different way of working, which is pretty kind of funny. And also he's like, he used to hate, rock and roll music. When I was father of daughters, and rock and roll was making waves, I didn't understand it. Thought it was just noise. And later on, right, he eventually did produce like a rock, sort of like a rock album. Yeah, so here we also know what do we know, right, from Bill. The album concludes with the cosmic what do we know from his newest album, Bill. Okay, yeah. And he also mentions, I guess, which is like a bit of a hint about something that he might. One more album, he says. I believe I've got at least one more album in me. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Alright, moving on to chapter 6, the worst and the best. So the worst and the best, I guess, of his career, his life, perhaps. It might be of a surprise to you to learn that his worst experience of his professional career was when he was trying to do this poetry backed by an orchestra, right? Yeah. So he says the worst experience of my professional career began in triumph. Yeah. It was okay at the start, but yeah. Something happened. And yeah. Well, I guess you just have to read that, right? But the pinnacle of his career is, he says, to stand up and hold an audience captive for 90 minutes, then have them cheer at the end. That was the pinnacle. And I remember this is Shatner's World, his one-man show, and I attended twice, in fact, and I remember it very fondly. It was a great experience. So yeah, so that would be his best career experience. Chapter 7, there's beauty in everything. There's a joy that comes with exploration, which is sort of like the whole theme of the book, by the way, is curiosity. Okay, so much so that he reckons that the low point of his life, he says here, to reiterate, this was one of the lowest chapters of my life, and I still hate myself for what I did that day, shooting a bear with an arrow. Yeah, that's how much he's evolved, I guess, as a human being. So page 177, which I got on the next one, chapter 8, your place in the universe, page 177, which I marked down as actually, yeah, it's just this page. Yeah, just the fact that in terms of spirituality, he doesn't believe in a deity or a god, but he does say he's like spiritual, which is, like, it's kind of vague, right? But I guess for him, it's about connection. That's it. Everything's connected, which is sort of like the theme that he comes back to over and over. Your place in the universe. Which sort of leads on to When I'm Gone. Okay, and he says, actually before that, as I was saying, there's a connectedness, entanglement at work in the universe, that we're all connected. Our shared connection to each other is the greatest frontier of all. And then he moves on to When I'm Gone, right? Reflecting on his mortality, I guess. Naturally, he is over 90, right? When I'm gone. And he says, not for a while, right? Can you hear me, universe? I don't want to die. He doesn't want to die yet. And on a lighter note, what what does he want to be when he dies? So the lyrics of the song, I want to be a tree. When my time has come, he wants to be a tree. Because I want to be a tree. Okay. Kind of funny song, but he does have reasons for it. And then we get to the epilogue. And he says there might be a second album, which I mentioned just now, right? The basis of a new album. And by the time you read this, we may well have done so. And another thing is, like, to close off the book, he did a performance more recently at the Kennedy Center. So fragile, so blue. Talking about, I guess, the Earth, and I guess his journey to space probably has informed this song, this fragile Earth that we have, and how we should do our best to, preserve it as much as we can. Yeah. And he says at the end here, I believe that in my soul I found what I have been looking for, right? In doing that song at the Kennedy Center. So all in all, definitely worth a read. Like, if you're a Shatner fan, you would have heard about many of these stories that he tells already. But he does present new insights. right? And yeah, the life lessons he has learned as well with a read, like how people should view the earth, why it's important to love and cherish each other, right? And yes, fresh insight into stories he's told in the past. So if you're a Shatner fan, yeah, I'd say you'll eat this book. Eat it up, right? Eat it up like it's a 5-star meal. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in another video.